What a tough turn of events for Vasiliy Lomachenko. I mean, going into this fight, I had a feeling that he was going to come out and just and turn in a great performance. You know, one of the things I said leading up to it was, I heard a saying once, and that saying was, every great fighter has one last great fight in him. If we looked at Loma's last 4 fights, they were underwhelming relative to what we had seen him do in the past, right? That's why so many people were leaning towards Devin Haney going into this one. But I was like, what if this is dude's great performance, man? I talked about how Haney may have some problems dealing with southpaws. I talked about how he potentially wasn't going to be able to get that jab off. I looked at that fight with Jojo Diaz and said, here's what I think about X, Y, and Z and how that may match up to Loma. But just from looking at Loma, I said, what if this dude turns in a great performance? What if all the talk we're hearing is true? That he knows that this is his last chance at getting the undisputed championship, like the true undisputed championship. It's what I've been dreaming about. It's what I want. It's what I've always been desiring, and this is going to be my last shot. If all of that talk was true, and this dude was now rejuvenated and re-energized and super focused and came out here and put on a performance, would Devin Haney be able to handle it? Dude, he put on that performance. I mean, we saw, just think about those body shots that Devin Haney was landing, and the fact that Loma just ate him and just went through it all. And late in the fight, the second half is when he turned it up and won the majority of his rounds, right? At 35 years old, great performance. But if we look at it now, we saw the post-fight and people asked, what do you think's next? Are you going to get a rematch? That was an awesome fight. How could you not get a rematch? Is that what you want? Right? Reporters just peppering him left and right with stuff. He immediately responded back. It's not going to happen. Not going to get a rematch. I was told going into the fight that he's not fighting anymore at 135 pounds. That's it. It's over. As soon as Devin Haney vacates, those belts are going to get split up and start going off for mandatories and title eliminators and this, that, and the other thing. But each sanctioning body is going to kind of go their own way. They're no longer going to be available to fight all 4 of them packaged up at once for it. It's not going to be an option. That's why we saw the man crying in the locker room after the fight, because it's so emotional, because he knows how hard he worked for it and he knows it was right here. He knows the kind of performance that he put on, and he feels deep in his heart he should have won, and he ain't the only one. I put a poll up on the site asking people, who do you think won the fight? Got like 185 responses. 75% of people thought Loma won that fight. They're talking to pros, they're talking to media members in there right after the fight. Overwhelmingly, you have people that think Lomachenko won the fight. It was really close. There was a lot of swing rounds. A lot of people will also say if you wanted to make it a draw, that's fine. Even if you wanted to go 115, 113, Haney, people can understand that as well. But overwhelmingly, the opinion that you get is that Loma won the fight. But that isn't the one that counts, right? None of those opinions matter at the end of the day. The ones that mattered were the judges. Those judges gave it to Haney. Loma walks away with another loss on his record and doesn't have the belt. What's he do now? I mean, it's easy. If Haney says that I need to redeem myself, the fans are giving me, too much of a headache over this one. I got my whole career in front of me. I'm only 24 years old. I got to get this rematch. I can't live with this on my record. That's what a true champion does. I need to go out here and I need to get this rematch. If that's what he does, it's easy. You absolutely know that Loma's going to take that fight. And to be perfectly honest, I think if he takes that fight, he's going to do phenomenal. Look, we know the way this dude fights. He goes out early in these fights and he downloads some data. He goes out early in these fights and he's trying to figure out his opponent and what's going on. And then once he does, he starts to work his magic, apply his craft, and we see him take over late in the fights. No different here. No different than what we saw in this one. You look at the course of those 12 rounds, I don't care if you give Loma 5 rounds or 7 rounds. The majority of the rounds that you're giving him are on the back half of that fight. Now, if we see them fight again, do you think that the second fight is going to be a brand new fight and it's going to be like round 1 of the second fight and he's going to have to take some time and figure him out, and then in the back half of the fight he's going to win again? Or do you think it's going to be much more like it's round 13 and he's already got this one figured out and he's able to go out there and keep his foot on the gas pedal right from the start? Because that's what I think. I think this dude is, if somehow, some way, Haney decides that he's going to make another nasty cut down to 135 pounds, he wants to redeem himself, wants to give Loma the rematch, and they actually pull this thing off and make it happen, I think it's going to start off like round 13. And it's true, I gave Devin Haney round 12, but we all know what Loma was bringing to the table, particularly in round 11, when he went out there and hurt him. So I think, should that happen, absolutely, without a doubt, Loma takes that fight, he's going to look good in it. Highly unlikely, though. So what's he do? He stays at 135 pounds? Who's he going to fight? He's going to fight Gervonta Davis? He's going to fight Shakur Stevenson? Does he want to fight one of these young dudes where it's not going to have the belts on the line? I mean, there'll be money involved in the fight, and there'll be, legacy and career recognition and all those things. But after you're coming off what you really wanted in this dream, and you were going at it. At 135 pounds trying to snatch up all the belts, and then you feel like it was done unjustly and you lost it. How are you going to get up for that next fight against one of these dudes, these young dudes that are absolute killers, man? Tank Davis got the one-punch power. Shakur Stevenson's just an absolute wizard in the ring with the things he's able to do. That's one of the young dudes that he's going to go up against. And if he doesn't fight one of them, what's he going to do? He's going to fight a lesser-known guy for lesser money, lesser recognition, less legacy and everything. Tough spot to be in, man. He's going to drop down to 130 pounds. I mean, he could go down there and dominate, right? It was funny, Jeff Mayweather, I was watching an interview that he gave after the fight. He's like, he goes down to 130 pounds, he's the king again. I'd make the argument he's a king at 135 pounds, but nevertheless, he goes down to 130. Yeah, odds are he's going to be able to dominate a lot of those guys. Not only is he going to be smaller and a lot of his skills are going to shine, but let's be honest, the competition is less down there, particularly since Shakur bumped up. I don't think if Lomachenko goes down to 130 pounds, he's going to find hard tests, particularly early on. You know, there's always young guys developing, and somebody may show, you know, by the time it happens, and Lomachenko's a little bit older or something, but he's in the same boat in the sense that the fight isn't going to have as much money, it's not going to have as much recognition, and he's going to have to go on a quest to snatch up those belts. They're not all just already sitting there packaged for him waiting. So I don't know, really, really tough spot to be in, dude. You know, you got the feeling and you got the vibe that if it was going to happen, that this was going to happen for him. I mean, I'm not suggesting by any means that, like, he's going to retire and step away or whatever. I mean, this dude is still, I mean, we saw the performance he put on. He still looks awesome. I mean, let's not forget about this fact. Let's not forget about it. What we saw him do, we saw him do it against Devin Haney. We saw him do it against the dude who is young, big, tall, strong, long, athletic, quick. Like, all the good things that we can say about Devin Haney, that's the guy that we saw Lomachenko put on the performance against. He was firing on all cylinders, man, and he looked good. We have every reason to believe that should he continue to come out there, he's going to look good again. And the way that redeemed himself, all of these other guys are going to want fights with him. So, you know, he brings a lot of name recognition. He would still be considered a very good win on their resume. Should they be able to pull it off? Sure, there would be good money involved as well. Just all those reasons. But what's he going to do? Where's he want to go after this? You know, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to say. I know they were talking about appealing and all kinds of stuff. Man, appeal's never going anywhere in the sport of boxing. We're going to appeal it. We're going to talk to the state commission. We're going to do this. Like, you're just like a dog barking at a tree with that one. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to happen. Bark at that tree all day long. Tree's still going to stay there. That's just the way the sport in boxing is. So I'm not really sure where he goes from this, what we see from him next, what weight class we see him fight at, or who he fights. You know, what do you guys think? After seeing that performance, who do you want to see him fight next? Who do you think he's going to fight next? Let me know what you guys think.